Hello. Hi, I am Michelle Quer, your health and life coach. So, what I'm going to talk to you today about is your Christmas food plan. So, I have 7 steps that I've indicated that you might want to look at when making your Christmas food plan. So, the first step and the most important is eat when you're hungry and stop when you are satisfied. So, it's very important for you to make that your goal, make that your plan for the day is to only eat when you're hungry and stop when you're satisfied, because that's your body telling you what you should be doing when it needs food, right? Your second step is to not deprive yourself. So if you see on my plan, I have a piece of pumpkin torte. So I'm going to have a dessert on Christmas. Also see down here that my sister-in-law makes a pecan pie that I really love. So instead, I'm going to save a piece of that to have the next day. So I'm not depriving myself. I'm making sure that I get things in that I want to have. Third step is to add those things onto your plan. Make sure that you're planning to have those things you love. So I have the pumpkin torte and the pecan pie, but I also have something else I love is my grandma's mashed potatoes. So I definitely have that on my plan to have the mashed potatoes because I love those. Additionally, I have a roll with butter. So I usually don't eat bread just by itself, but for Christmas and other holidays, I tend to go ahead and have a roll with butter because that's something that I typically don't have, and I have that more as something to not deprive myself. So the fourth thing would be to make sure you have enough on your plate, but not too much so that it's like a typical meal. So my plan, I have a half piece turkey, half piece of ham, I have a scoop of mashed potatoes, and I have roasted Brussels sprouts. So that's a fairly typical meal for me, is to have a protein and 2 vegetables. So I have that on there. And then I have my loves. So I have that roll and that pumpkin torte. And that is my Christmas meal. We usually have Christmas meal around 2 o'clock. And the fifth step is not to undereat your breakfast. So if you typically have a breakfast, then make sure that you are having around the same amount that you typically would for breakfast. In my case, I have an egg, a piece of bacon or sausage, if my husband makes some, spinach, and then my daughter, for special things, holidays, usually she'll make something either like a cinnamon roll or a coffee cake. So I'll have like a half piece of that if she makes something, or a piece of that. And if she doesn't make something, then typically my husband will make pancakes. So then I will have a pancake, and I usually add pecans onto that just to get a little more protein. So then the importance of that is that when you say, I'm not eating breakfast, or I'm going to eat less of breakfast, then you're tricking your mind and trying to say, hey, I can eat more later. But when you go to eat, if you're paying attention to your hunger, and you eat when you're hungry and you stop when you're satisfied, that meal size is not going to be able to be a bigger meal. It's just going to be your typical size meal that you're able to eat before you're satisfied. So you don't want to do that to yourself where you end up overeating just because you told yourself earlier, oh, I didn't have my breakfast, so I can eat more. The next step, step 6, is to plan to take food home with you so that you, again, are not feeling deprived, so that you don't think, oh, I have to eat this and this and this and this and this, because then it'll be gone, right? So, most of the time, if you ask your host if it's okay if you bring a container to put some things in that you want to have the next day, most hosts want to get rid of all the leftovers. So it would be great for you to bring a container and take some of what you don't want to have that day and have it the next day. So for example, I have the pecan pie, and then I have some mashed potatoes. So I'm going to get a scoop of mashed potatoes and put it in a container, and I'm going to put the pecan pie in a container and then have those the next day. So then the 7th step is to chew and make sure you can leave bites behind. Again, that's where that container comes into play, is if you are a person that you're supposed to clean your plate, right? If that's one of your thoughts is that I have to clean my plate or I can't waste food, then if there's food left behind, then you can always put that in your container and take it and have it for a meal the next day, so that you don't so you don't end up feeling bad about needing to toss the food. But if you want to toss the food, make sure you go ahead and toss the food, right? So if it's something you're like, I really didn't like that as much as I thought I would, and you're satisfied, then go ahead and throw it away, right? The thing about chewing your food is that it helps with digestion. So, make sure that when just think about how you typically chew your food. Do you normally just kind of chew two chews and then swallow it? Just try to extend that to maybe 3 to 5 more chews, and that was going to be very helpful for your digestion. So it'll decrease your bloating, your gas, your stomach pain, stomach cramps, because your body starts to digest in the mouth. So when you chew, your body says, oh, digestion is going to happen, and then it prepares the rest of your body for that digestion. It kind of senses what you're eating there, and then starts to tell the body what's going to be coming so that it's ready. If you have those big chunks where you bite and then just swallow, then the stomach acid will start to break it down, but it may take longer, which could cause some pain, and it'll sit in the stomach, or those bigger pieces will get into the intestines, and then you have the bacteria breaking apart food that should have been broken apart further, and it breaking those bonds can start to cause some of that gas, that pain, that bloating. So that's why you want to make sure you're chewing your food, especially during a holiday. So let me go through those steps again. 1, make sure you're eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're satisfied. 2, don't deprive yourself. 3, add those foods that you love to your plan. 4, make sure you have enough but not more than a typical meal. 5, don't undereat your breakfast. Make sure that you're eating your typical meal so that you don't end up overeating later. 6, bring a container to take food home. And 7, chew your food and make sure that you leave bites behind when you're satisfied. I hope this was informative and helps you have a wonderful, healthy holiday dinner. So Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.